Stop with the main mark at 5 o'clock, which is about here, and then remove your soft weight. Remember always to hold at the bottom as you remove your weight so the stitches don't jump off the top. And then we're going to reach in carefully, again, not disturbing our stitches. We're going to remove the weighted clip. And your goal now is to find the first stitch. Find where your project yarn starts. This project yarn starts right here. And you can see that this is the first row, because then this one is a little bit lower. With this perspective, this one looks lower. So this is really the very first stitch is right here. We're going to take the loom tool, which is the one that's not quite as sharp. And we're going to pick up that bar. And the bars are really easy to pick up thanks to the ravel cord. So you can see there's a row of green. Hopefully you can see there are the 2 rows of green from the ravel cord. And in between the rows of green, you'll see 1 stitch of scrap yarn and 1 stitch of project yarn. The bars we're hanging are the stitches of project yarn, the yellow in this case, that are in between the 2 rows of the green ravel cord. So you're going to pick up the first stitch and you're going to hang it on the first needle to the right of the main mark. So here's the main mark and here is the very first stitch. And now you're going to continue hanging the bars, every bar all the way around to hang the hem. You're going to make sure your latches stay open on your needles. And a good tip, you can see I'm holding the fabric up near the needles. Don't have it all the way back and then pull the stitch to the needle, because it actually could cause the next stitch to sort of disappear. So hold the next section of bars right up near the needles as you're hanging them. And you're going to continue like this, you know, for a little ways. I probably go until about 1 o'clock on the camshell. Okay, that's a good number for now. Now we're going to crank around a short ways until the stitches we haven't done are back in a convenient area to work on them, but we do not have the weight in right now. So instead, your hand can serve as the weight and can push down the stitches at right in this area, which is where the needles pull under the cams to actually knit the stitches. So we'll just go slowly. Push those down. That's just fine. Remember, stop where you can reach the next set of stitches. Don't go so far that your open stitches get into the cam area. You won't be able to work with them then. From here, we continue hanging bars. Having finished another section, I'm going to crank around again, using my hand as the weight to make sure those stitches are knitting. And then here are my last few that need to be hung. If you did everything right, you have 1 stitch left for the last needle right before your main mark. You can replace your weight and reset your row counter. And now we're going to crank a short distance until the main mark is at 9 o'clock. You can continue just helping those last double stitches to knit. It's no problem with the pretty loose tension that I have here, but if you have pretty tight tension, in order to get the gauge you needed on your project, you might have to really help those stitches knit. So I'm going to stop now, make sure that all of my stitches knit. I don't have any dropped bars. Mine looks good. I don't have any issues. At this point, for the next 3 rows, you might, again, if you have tight tension, you might want to pull down a little bit on the bottom of your setup bonnet as you crank these rows. Since we had the 2 rows of stitches, the tension's just going to be a little tight for a little bit. And usually after 2 or 3 rows, I can feel where it loosens up, and then you can stop doing that. Now you'll crank the number of leg rows you'd like, usually somewhere between 50 and 100 rows. Partway through, you'll probably want to stop and adjust your weight up using your cable ring. So I'm going to reach in carefully and get the weight, again pulling down from the bottom. And then you can add the cable ring around the tube you've been cranking. And then replace your soft weight. Visit us at deanandbean.com and please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.